Okay. Today, what we'll do is we'll discuss about one type of special machines. Okay, which is important. We have 4 5 different types of special machines over here. So today, what we'll do will be, I'll just discuss about one type of special machine. This comes under your module 4. So first special machine that is very important for you, which you should understand. Many special machines are theoretical. You can do those things on your own, but some things you have to understand. Those things we'll discuss over here. So one of the most important special machine you need to know is single phase series universal motor. Now from the name itself only we'll make some conclusion. What is the conclusion we'll make is that first point it says that it is a single phase machine. So it works on a single phase supply. So we are giving a single phase AC supply. Okay. Now next is a series motor. Now see why we are saying a series motor. How the classification comes about series, shunt and all. Those classification comes in DC machine only. In induction motor we never call a series motor. In synchronous machine also we have never heard about series machine, but in DC motors we have heard about series motors, shunt motors, about how the shunt means how the field and armatures are connected. That's because of the connections they were classified into series and shunt type. So since this motor is called as a series motor, so we are bringing into the application of the DC motor also over here. So it is working on a single phase supply and it is practically a DC series motor. Okay. And why we are calling it universal? Because single phase AC supply series motor is DC motor. So this motor can work on both AC and DC. That's why it is called as universal motor. So first important point that you should understand, I have explained you the how the name is coming and we'll go by that name. How the name is coming, I have written some of the points, we'll go through it also. So first thing we should go by theoretical view. What is by theory we understand by the formulas what we know, we'll go by that. So a single phase series motor is a commutator type motor. So a DC series motor, DC motors require commutator, why you know. So it is a commutator type motor. Because it is a DC motor, you need a commutator. Now, if the polarity of the line terminals of the DC series motor is reversed, the motor will continue to run in the same direction. Why motor will continue to run in the same direction? Because very important is that if means it should be also alternating current also. It will operate the same way in the alternating current also. Because what is happening, you know, your torque is proportional to your flux into your armature current. So torque is directly proportional to phi into Ia. Now if you take a your DC supply, okay, so in series motor what happens, the field and armature are connected in series. So if my armature terminal is connected to the positive terminal, suppose the current enters the armature from one direction, suppose from top to down. If I'm drawing armature like this, no sorry, I'm drawing armature like this and connecting positive negative over here. So it will go in this direction. Okay, phi into Ia. If this is my positive direction, so my current will be positive and flux will also be positive. So that gives me suppose a anti-clockwise or clockwise rotation. So torque will be positive. Now if I reverse the terminal, current will enter in this direction, right? Current becomes negative, and since your current direction changes, your flux direction will also change. Previously suppose it was this, because of this current direction this was becoming north south, and now because of this current direction this will be north, this will be south. Okay, so current will flow in this direction, flux will has also changed. So phi into Ia, is again positive. Minus phi into minus IA. That gives me torque again positive. So rotation will be in the same direction. Okay. Now if you take a AC supply during the positive half cycle, what you will get current to be entering in this direction. Positive cycle, phi into IA, positive current, positive flux. So positive torque. During the negative half cycle, negative current, negative torque. So again you will get positive torque. So direction of rotation remains same even if you connect a AC supply or a DC supply to a DC series motor. It's not that once it will rotate out this direction, once it will rotate in the other. That is wrong conception. Okay. So in a DC series motor, even if you are giving a AC supply or a DC supply, okay, and for a DC supply, obviously you have to change the line terminals to check whether the torque is produced in the same direction or not. In AC, you don't have to do because AC is first cycle positive, next cycle negative, then positive, then negative. So you don't have to change the supply terminals again and again to check the torque direction of rotation. So that's why we are saying that the DC series motor continue to run in the same direction. And if it is possible in alternating current also. Why? Because we doing a mathematical analysis, D directly proportional to phi IA, so it will be positive in both cases. Okay. So if you are connecting a DC series motor across a single phase AC supply, that is same written over here. Some current will flow through the field and winding in the armature, and if there is a AC reversal from positive to negative, okay, the direction of the flux and current will change, and both will produce a positive torque. So this means that this point is very important, the conclusion. This means that the direction of developed torque will remain positive and rotation will continue in the same direction. That is what I explained to you. And why it is called universal motors? Because it is a series motor which can
ডিসি সিরিজ মোটরটাকে এসি কারেন্টে চালানো যাবে
চালানো যাবে একদম কোনো অসুবিধা নেই Thus, a series motor can have which works on both AC and DC supply. Okay, that is single phase, obviously single phase AC supply. So those motors which can operate both on AC and DC supply are called as universal motors. So that's why we are calling this as universal motor. And obviously there are some drawbacks when that DC motor is connected to the AC, that we'll see point wise. But for now, we have understood why a DC motor can operate both on AC and DC, and that's why it is called as a universal motor. Now we'll take a visual realization of this. What will happen? Same thing we'll do over here. Now, if we are taking a alternating voltage to be applied to the DC series. Now, since we are giving single phase supply, so we are giving a AC supply only. So we no need to discuss about the DC part. So we are giving AC supply to the ordinary DC series motor. So what is happening? This is your armature, and this is armature, this is a field coil. So one is the D axis flux which is produced along the field coil, and at 90 degrees there is a your Q axis flux which is your armature flux, which is in this direction along the brushes. So your field and some conclusions from here I am telling you because later you will need it. It is written over there also. The brushes of the armature axis and the field axis are placed in space quadrature. You know what is space quadrature. They are fixed like that only. So between them is 90 degrees. Time quadrature means you are giving time quadrature means three phase voltages. Three voltages separated by 120 degree in time. And space quadrature means we had seen that poles were fixed spaced in means they were spaced in a fixed manner, placed in a fixed manner in space. So this placed in a fixed manner in space only, such that the at the starting only, the between your armature flux and your field flux there is an angle of 90 degrees. So what is we'll skip that. What is the main thing? We have to understand what is happening when a AC supply is given. So you are giving a AC supply over here. So current is flowing in this direction from this point. Now, suppose this south pole, this is north pole that is being developed. These are the cross and dot points over here. Now what is happening? The interaction of these two fluxes will produce the torque, right? So this will be in this direction. Movement is always from north to south, so movement is in this direction, clockwise. So my motor, the armature of the motor will rotate in the clockwise direction, that is north to south. Okay. So interaction of this field flux and armature flux results in development of the torque in clockwise direction. Now what will happen in the next case? Now in the next case, what is happening? The current polarity has changed, right? Positive cycle was previous one. Now we are talking about the negative cycle. Okay. So now my flux direction, see the direction of the current previously was flowing in this direction like this. Okay. Now the current is entering from this direction. So this, you take this convention, means current entering is south pole and leaving is north pole. So current entering over here, this becomes south, this becomes north, and according to that, all these crosses and dots change. Just compare and see. The left hand side was dot, the right hand side was cross. So now left hand side becomes cross because your current direction changes, and right hand side becomes dot. So now your phi d is in this direction, opposite. Now your phi q is in this direction. So torque is produced in this direction. Movement is north to south. So motor will move in the from north to south only. So again, which direction it is moving? Again, it is moving in the clockwise direction.
স্যার তাহলে আরেকটা যে সাউথ নর্থ রয়েছে সেই দুটোতে অ্যাট্রাক্ট করবে।
হ্যাঁ, মানে এই দিক দিয়ে বোঝো, এই দিকে সাউথ নর্থ করো, it will move in this direction.
হ্যাঁ, আর তাহলে অপোজিট দিকে যদি সাউথ নর্থ, সেটা তো আবার অ্যাট্রাক্ট করছে।
অপোজিট দিকে সাউথ নর্থ
মানে সাউথ নর্থ যেটা দুটো, মানে টপ লেফট টপ রাইটে যেটা সাউথ পোলটা নর্থ পোলের দিকে যাচ্ছে একটা রয়েছে, আর একটা নিচে যে নর্থ পোল আর সাউথ পোল রয়েছে, তাহলে নর্থ পোলের থেকে সাউথ পোলটা দূরে সরে যাবে তো, যদি একই ভাবে রোটেশনটা হয়। মানে বলতে চাইছি যে দুটো টর্ক তো অপোজ করে দিতে পারে। হ্যালো,
দুটো টর্ক অপোজ করতে হবে। ঠিক আছে, আমি ভাবছি একবার, মাথা এখন খেলছে না। আপাতত ডাইরেকশনটা দেখো, আমি ভাবছি একবার। ঠিক আছে, নর্থ থেকে সাউথ যাবে, উই আর থিঙ্কিং অ্যাবাউট দিস অনলি। ওকে, না নর্থ থেকে, আচ্ছা তুমি বলছো এই নর্থ থেকে সাউথ মানে এইদিকে যাবে। ঠিক আছে,
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ,
আপাতত এইটা
বা
নিয়ে
নিচে, বা ওই নর্থটা যদি সাউথের দিকে যায়, তাহলে নিচের নর্থটা সাউথটা মানে দুটো দূরে সরে যাচ্ছে।
বুঝতে পেরেছি। তার মানে এখানে কিছু একটা, মানে এটা ঠিক করে দিতে হবে, ভুল ডায়াগ্রামটা আছে। ঠিক আছে, আমি দেখছি। We'll think about taking only from this. I'll check about this, how these poles are given correctly, then I will tell you. So think about only this north and south poles exist. So movement is from north to south, so it will go in this direction. Okay, and for this only think about this. Okay, so again, if you think about this, it will go in this direction. Think about this only, north to south, it will go in this direction. So same is happening over here. So it will move in the clockwise direction. So the same movement happens in both cases. So torque is in the same direction, movement of rotor is in the clockwise direction. I'll check that north and south pole production and tell you. Okay, so what is happening in the positive cycle? We are having a positive flux, right? So we are having a positive flux like this, we are having a positive current. Okay, a positive current as well as a negative current, because we are having a, because of the change in polarity, we are having a reversal of the current as well as the flux. So we are having a sine wave for both flux and current. But what is happening, because what is torque is proportional to I into phi. So if I multiply these two, these are both positive, we are doing a visual realization, so that's why we have shown you the graph. So this is positive in both cases, so we'll get a positive curve over here. So we are getting a positive curve over here, and in the second case also, this is minus, we'll get a positive curve. So torque is positive in both cases. So unidirectional torque is produced. So if you take an average value, see, an average value is drawn over here. This is the average value which is drawn over here, and so your torque will be will be positive, and hence it will rotate the motor in the same direction only. So it is a basically it is a unidirectional and pulsating torque that is produced, and a double frequency. Why double frequency? Because you can see this output waveform is same as your rectified waveform, right? Full wave rectifier. For a full wave rectifier, if you give a supply of 50 hertz, your output frequency is 100 hertz. Right? For a supply frequency like this, your output of this is full wave rectifier. So this frequency is how much? This is one cycle, right? 100 hertz. For a half wave rectifier, if you draw the waveform, it will be positive 0. So time period is this much. So it is again 50 hertz. So this represents your full wave rectified waveform similar to this. So output is, if you take a supply of 50 hertz, your torque will be a double frequency, double the supply frequency, that is 100 hertz. So I have taken 50 hertz supply, so torque will be 100 hertz. Okay, now you are using a DC motor to a supply AC. These are some of the experimental drawbacks which happens to a DC motor when operated in AC. Its efficiency becomes low because of the due to excess hysteresis and eddy current loss. Because you know hysteresis, eddy current loss depends upon your frequency, so it will be little bit more, and if losses increases, the efficiency will decrease. Power factor is low due to large reactance. We'll see about this. We'll explain this point. Power factor is low. Efficiency you can understand. And there is a sparking at brushes which is excessive. There's always a sparking at brushes. In DC motor also there is sparking, but if you use AC, it is seen that there is a sparking becomes a little bit excessive over there. So power factor is low. We'll study about this. We have a relation and we'll understand how power factor becomes low. Now, in order to overcome those difficulties, what is happening? Some modifications are to be made. So, in order to overcome those core losses, that is your hysteresis and eddy current losses, what is that? We have to use a good material, right? And in transformer also had shown you how good material affects your transformer, no load current and all. And obviously, to reduce eddy current loss, we have to laminate the core. So, lamination has to be proper. Second point, the field winding should be provided with small number of turns, and this also reduces your iron loss and effective voltage drop. If you reduce the number of turns, then the copper included over there will be less. So there will be also less I square R loss. So all these things will happen. Okay, please go all through these points. These are just theoretical points you need to remember. So go through all these points. I'm not just reading it out. These are the how some of the difficulties are, means how construction wise some of the difficulties are removed. So we'll go into understanding what is happening over here. So first we have to draw the phasor diagram of single phase series motor. Now what we are doing is generalized theory of electrical machine you have studied in last sem. So you have seen for any machine there are two types of EMF that is produced. One is transformer EMF, one is rotational EMF. Okay. A transformer EMF will follow the transformer EMF concept, and rotational EMF will be present for all rotational machines. So there are always two EMFs formed over here. So that's why we are taking into consideration of those two and drawing this figure. Don't think about this as very complex. You can draw later you can draw this simplified diagram also. This is rather very easy to draw it. So I think you understand that one. But in your exam, you can draw this simplified version also, no problem. But write simplified phasor diagram, and some considerations are taken. So you need to write this some points over there. So let us first learn how to draw this. Just we'll go through it very quickly. So you know how to draw a phasor diagram. Flux should be taken as constant. So the main field flux is taken as your reference. So main field flux is taken as your reference, and you know your no load current is leading by some angle over here, right? So that no load current taken over here is Im, okay, which is responsible for your core component losses as well as some power losses during the no load part. So from your phi d, the Im will lead by some angle beta. That is known as your hysteresis advance angle, that you know all same as your transformer. This all things which we had drawn is um, taking the concepts of your transformer. Okay, so all these conventions you can change it. In transformer we had taken I naught or I, you can change accordingly, doesn't matter. This is given in the books, so I have taken this reference only and explained to you. So first what we'll do, the main field flux we have to draw it, then by leading by it some angle beta we'll draw our IM. What is that? Beta is known as your hysteresis advance angle. So that is my first one. Okay, so you know what will be the cos component and sine component. This part of the component, this part is your cos component, cos beta. I am cos beta is along the flux, so it will help in produce your flux, and the sine component which will go in this direction will be helping producing the your power loss, the power loss that is present in no load condition. So there are two components, which one is producing the flux and other is accounting for your power loss, the core friction and windage loss during the no load condition. Now if you consider one thing, if you consider the armature and the brushes, if you consider the armature and consider the brushes to be short circuited between one another, so some current will flow between this two point and there will be a EMF between this 2 point plus minus, so there will be EMF between these 2 points, a small EMF, because it is short circuited, it will be, short circuit voltage is 0, so there will be a very small EMF produced over here. So what will be that EMF produced over here? We have taken it as ETD. Okay, ETD. And since it is a transformer EMF, the EMF in a transformer and your flux lags by 90 degree. If you remember your transformer flux, this was our phi, this we were drawing as our EMFs P, that was lagging by 90 degree. So recall that fact, and we have drawn over here phi d, and because of small EMF that is produced under the no load condition, that is your ETD. Okay, so ETD is your transformer EMF, and since it is transformer EMF, it is lagging this phi d by 90. And another EMF that is produced is called your rotational EMF. Okay, that rotational EMF, please go through a generalized theory, and it comes in phase with your flux. So that is produced by your phi q. So one EMF, that is ERQ, R for rotational, T for transformer, and D for your main field flux. Okay, and Q for your armature reaction flux. Okay, so your phi q, which is another um, what is armature reaction, what is happening. So another flux that is produced due to armature reaction, um, that flux phi q, for that some EMF will be developed, let that be ERQ. And so if there are two fluxes like this, two EMF like this, there will be a resultant one, ESC. And since in a motor all those are windings present, since all the windings are present, there is no capacitive effect, there is all inductive effect, so current will lag. So by ESC, because the brushes are short circuited between one another, some current will flow. So between that ESC, there, because of that short circuit, there will be a current flowing, that is ISC, which will be lagging your ESC because of the inductive effect. So it is lagging by some angle sigma over here. So ESC, ISC. And then what in a transformer, what we did in the secondary, we had drawn, right? We had drawn our I2, then brought I2 in the opposite direction. We had got I2 dash, right? Then we had over here I naught, and the phasor sum of I2 and I naught gave me your I1, the actual current that is flowing through the primary. So we'll follow the same thing over here. So we'll bring we'll bring ISC on the same side, means we'll bring ISC on the opposite side. So we'll bring ISC on the opposite side. Okay, you can bring opposite side, this side, this. You can bring ISC over here and show the resultant like this. Okay, you can show it as a by triangle method also. Okay, so you have bring ISC on the opposite side over here, then bring it to this and form a triangle over here. So anyhow you can show it. So IM ISC phasor sum give you I. Okay. Then you draw your this portion, right? Then you can draw this portion. We'll come to this later. First, you should understand what is happening over here. So we have a flux phi d. For that some current, because that flux, some no load current should be there at the starting, that is responsible in producing the flux. So that current is some Im, and you know it will lead by some angle beta. The Im cos beta, Im sin beta, you know what are the components. One component is along phi d, so it will produce the flux. Other component produces your losses during the no load. Another flux that develops in the DC motor is your armature reaction flux. So for that phi d, some transformer EMF will be produced, and since the armature is rotating, for that armature, we have a RQ, means rotational EMF produced over here. So rotational EMF produced over here at no load. All those are no loads, so small quantities when the brushes are short circuited between one another. So ETD and ERQ, for that a small EMF will be developed, ESC, and there will be a small current developed because of that, because it is short circuited, that is ISC, and there will be a lagging effect because all there are windings present, so winding has an inductive effect. And then what you do, ISC brought on the opposite side, phasor sum of IM and minus ISC gave you I current. So up to this done, and some calculations you can do it. Okay, some calculations you can do it. The calculations are that you can calculate this ISC current. You remember this one time we had done shaded pole, right? In one winding was short circuited by one another. Like that, we had done some calculation. So you can do some calculation over here also. What will be the ISC? You know the voltage that is producing is ESC. Because of that, the ISC is produced. So ESC by Z. So what will be the coil impedance? Means the short circuited part of the coil will have some impedance. So what will be that small impedance present? And since it is since it is lagging by some angle sigma, so how much you can calculate your sigma also. So sigma can be calculated as, just for first year basic electrical, how you do, you can find out by this is the angle between voltage and current, so it is a cos angle also. So cos angle you can write cos sigma is equal to R by Z, or you can write tan sigma is equal to X by R, whichever formula you want to use you can do. Okay, so I've written over here tan inverse, you can write in terms of cos inverse also. So sigma is equal to tan inverse X by R. So what is that X? The commutated coil reactance and the commutated coil resistance, X by R. And the next point, number 6, says you how to construct your IM. You have to bring ISC on the opposite side. Phasor sum of IM and ISC is equal to I, or you can write in terms of triangle form also, that IM minus ISC gives you a vector I. So that is written over here. You can modify this according to other point which I said. Now when properly the load is connected, on load, what is happening? So on load the EMFs and all increases, so we'll have a transformer EMF as well as your rotational EMF. So the transformer EMF, because of this phi d, the armature reaction flux is shown over here, ETSD, all will be lagging by 90 degree, because transformer EMF lags your flux by 90 degree, and the transformer EMF created by your phi q will be ETAK. And another transformer EMF, rotational EMF that is produced by your phi d is ERAD. You just go through this. I'm giving a home task. You just go through rotational and transformer EMF in generalized theory, or some first chapters of your Bhimra book. You will find all this. Okay, you'll see that the rotational EMF that is produced by a flux opposes this flux. Okay, so reason is given over here. You can go through it, but you just go through the generalized theory part, few pages. You can understand why this is shown in the negative direction, because it opposes this production of flux. That's why this EMF, it acts a back EMF. Okay, so it's a type of back EMF so that is produced, so it opposes, so a minus sign is given out. Even though we are showing this rotational EMF, see, rotational EMF is in direction of flux, but the rotational EMF that is produced due to the main field flux is opposing it. So even though if we are showing in this direction of phi d, it is given a minus sign over here. Now we'll not draw this over here, minus ERAD over here. First what we will do, second thing, if you recall the transformer, what we did next thing was we had drawn our secondary portion, right? We had drawn our secondary we had drawn our secondary portion. This was our flux. Then what we did, we brought this parts into the primary. Okay, so if this was E1, what we were getting over here was minus E1, right? So that was termed as V1 dash. So next step is that we'll bring the EMFs and the opposite direction. So to draw our stator part. So what we'll do, the load part, the ETAQ and ETSD brought on the opposite side. So you are getting minus ETAQ and minus ETSD. There will be a minus sign over here. Okay, so you'll get the two EMFs. Then what we did, we had got the resultant I1 from here. That is the I0 and I2 dash that gave us the resultant over here. The resultant is IM and IM and minus ISC gave our resultant I. Then what we did is make drew our IR. How you drew our IR? If this was our V1 dash and this was our I1, how you drew our I1 are? So you had drawn it parallel to I1 because you know that for a resistor your voltage and current are in same phase. So I1R will be in same phase with your I1. So you can't draw it after this. You have to draw it after this because this total gives the phasor sum of the voltage. So instead of I1R drawn over here, you shift it to this point, I1R. Then what you draw is your IXL part. So you draw how your IXL part, that is 90 degrees to I1R. So you draw your IXL part over here. Then draw the phasor sum as the total supply stator voltage. So that for again same thing will follow over here. So what we will do, we have drawn our I, we have drawn as a resultant of IM and minus ISC. We have brought our EMF in the opposite direction. This is minus over here to get your EMF on the primary side or your stator side or okay. So then what we will draw is the field and armature. There is a field and armature and we are taking a series motor. So same current will flow. No need to worry about different currents because if it is shunt motors, field and armature will have different currents. So since same current will flow through the field and armature, so we'll have a drop across the field and armature that we can say it as like this: I into RA plus JXA across the armature, and another drop across the field as I into RF plus JXF. Okay, so how will you draw this? We have to draw I into RA, which will be in phase with your I1. So I into RA will be in same direction. So that should be drawn over here. See, parallel to this I into R. I will be I into RA. So there is a slight slant in line over here because this line is slightly slanted. Okay, if this was straight, if this I was like this, so I into R will be like this only. So that's why what we have drawn over here. Sorry. So that's why what we have drawn over here is IRA parallel to your I. Then I into XA. So that is your drop across the inductive reactance of your armature. So that will be 90 degrees to this. So this angle is 90 degree. Between IRA and IXA will be 90 degrees. Even if you can't understand this, I into XA, there is a J term. How will you draw this? If you don't recall your first year, please think it how you draw your J part. This is your real axis. How you draw your plus J? This is your plus J axis, right? Imaginary axis. So it should lead by 90 degrees. From real to this, imaginary is which direction? Clockwise, anti-clockwise. Anti-clockwise means lead. So it is leading by 90 degrees. Okay. So leading by 90 degrees. Now, next is I into RF, the field one, and then 90 degrees to this is this one. So, and then you add your minus EZ, okay, because this total, all this EMF and this rotational EMF total will give you your actual stator voltage. This Vt is your stator side voltage, means your supply voltage, which is given to the motor. So this part of the phasor diagram is very important, because we write a equation, right? V equal to Eb plus IARA. The voltage that is coming from the supply only, that V is coming from the supply also. So now what we'll write the equation in terms of Vt. That Vt is nothing but V, but in terms of this Et, Aq, Ia, Xa, Xf, and all this. So how will you write this? Very easy. Just do the phasor sum. So what are the things that are present over here? One is I into Ra plus Jxa. So all this X turned on one side. So Jxa plus Xf, Ra plus Ra into I. What are the three EMFs present over here? Minus ETAQ, minus ETSD, minus RAD. Minus ETAQ, minus RAD, minus ETSD. Okay. Then separate the two into different parts, and you can write it. Voltage across this part is the field winding, this part is the voltage across your armature winding. Okay. Now about the power factor that we were discussing. This is the power factor, actual power factor at the starting. Right, this is our stator voltage. Means not a starting, working condition. This is our rate. This is the angle between our stator voltage and I. This is a theta. So cos of this theta will give you a power factor, and since it is a single phase series motor, you will have always a power factor. Now what is happening to ERAD? At the starting, what is happening? There is no rotational EMF because of this main field flux, because there is no rotation at the point of starting. So ERAD can be considered as 0. So this tip. So ERAD is at this tip. This is not the this is condition under running condition. So at the starting, ERAD is at the tip. So this VT comes in this point, comes and join to this point. So if this VT comes and join to this point, this theta increases, right? So I and Vt angle increases. So this thing. So from here, what we were discussing is about the power factor. What we told, that power factor is low because of this. So because your ERAD is at this point at the starting, when there is no rotational EMF, there's this theta increases. So if theta increases, cos theta will decrease. So power factor at starting is very low in this case. So that's the main issue point in this case when your DC motor is operated on AC. So your power factor at starting is very low. But as the speed builds up, the rotational EMF increases. So this slowly increases this point. Suppose it is in the middle at this point. So at this point, so now theta decreases from the previous value to this point to this point. So theta decreases, cos theta will increase. So slowly and slowly it will increase, and at normal working condition, it attains a good power factor. So most of the power is available. So no problem with that. If power factor at the starting is very low, then your active power will be very less. So that's a problem which I told you at the starting only, that power factor problem is there. So I've explained you why this power factor is very low. And now simplified phasor diagram. Okay, we'll just because we know that our main equation is V is equal to Ev plus IARA. We need the stator side equation only. So we'll take only the top part of your phi d, taking into some considerations. We'll make for the whole equation positive and eliminate all our pole losses and all. We are thinking that there is no load component, and that ISC part, the no load that is produced during that condition, all those are dropped. So if you take this figure and all those things are dropped, this ISC, IM component are dropped. So there is no phasor sum of this IM and ISC. This I comes in phase with this phi q and phi d, and all these minus signs are dropped. So this becomes all plus and all. So when in your exam you can draw this simplified phasor diagram and write this first point. Okay, please write the first one, because no need to draw again this one and explain so many things. You can draw this, all these things, only this part, keeping write these meanings. What are this ETSD, transformer EMF due to armature flux, and all. You write all these things. Rotational EMF due to field flux, all these things, you just write down the meanings, phi q, phi d. So now you can see all these minus signs are dropped. Okay, no minus sign along the EMF. I has come in phase with your phi q and phi d. If this is the resultant Vt over here, this will be your angle theta. So if this are alternate angles, so this is 90 degree over here, so this will be alternate angles. So if this is theta, this will be theta over here. Now another simplification what we have made over here is that if you look into this figure, now I becomes over here. So if you draw, so now I is like this. Now I is like this. I is gone along this phase line. Now this is your EMF line. Right? I'm just drawing one EMF, just for your understanding. One EMF over here. Next, what we are having, the IRA. So IRA will come in phase with this. So will be straight like this IRA, right? And IXA will be also in this direction. So in, and what will be IRA? This is because IRA. This is IRF. And what will be this will be IXA, and another line will be in the 90 degree to it, will be IXF, right? So instead of drawing it like this, you can draw it like this. So phasor sum will be like this. It will go in this direction, then follow this direction and go like this, right? Because you take the resultant of this two and get this phasor sum as IZA, and this phasor sum is IZF. So instead of making such complication of getting IZ and all, so what we will do, we'll just add it simply. Will IRA is along this direction, VT means ERAD, right? And IXA and IXF is along this ESTSTD and ETAQ direction. So what we'll do is draw this IXA in this direction and add another IXF component in the same direction only, and draw this IRA in this direction, draw this IRF in this direction, because this were seen in this direction only, right? This was seen from going from this E point to this this ETSD point to this VT point. So we can, instead of making a resultant form over here, we can simply separate those two vectors and draw simplified form like this. Okay, so that's why this is called as simplified version of your previous phasor diagram. Some formulas which have been taken from generalized theory. Okay, the EMF that is developed is given by root 2 F phi q max Z by A. All symbols have the usual meaning. You know, Z number of conductors, A number of parallel paths, F is your frequency, all these things. Now ETAQ, this ETAQ. Okay, so ETAQ, what is ETAQ? EMF, right? EMF will be I into X. So this I component is over here, and 90 degrees to it is your ETAQ. So just now I have told this, if this is your real axis, this is your imaginary axis. Okay. So along the imaginary axis there will be plus J. So plus J. So EMF, so I into X. So that's why written over here ETAQ is equal to Ji into X. Okay. So this is your magnetizing component along this is Q. So this will be Q over here along the Q axis. So this is QX. And the other thing ETSD, another component of I. So I into XMD. So Ji into XMD. So if you are writing E in terms of I and X, so it will be the Jth component because it is 90 degrees to your I. If this component was, if E was along this side, so if ETQ, just for your knowledge Anthony, if ETQ was in this side, so what you could write I into R, because IR is in phase with your I, and IX is 90 degrees to your I portion. So that's why we have taken this component IX. Don't tell me, sir, what is IR? IR will be in phase with this I. IR can't be 90 degrees to that. So that's why this X component is taken over here. So ETAQ is JIXMQ, ETSD is JIXMD, where XMD is your, XM means your magnetizing component, and D signifies your D axis component, and Q signifies your Q axis component. And another thing, the rotational EMF. The rotational EMF will be root 2 FR phi d max Z by A. Yeah, rotational EMF, the armature part. So in the rotor part, the frequency will be FR. Single AC machine, we know in the rotor there will be a frequency FR. In the supply frequency, it will be Fs. Now we'll do some calculations over here. This calculations, why it is required, just go through it. We'll go through it. Why it is required? Ultimately, we have to draw a curve like this and understand the characteristics, and some equations will be required for solving problems. Now it is very easy. We'll go fast because calculations will just go through the formula. So you can calculate your flux. How you calculate your flux is MMF by reluctance. So if you calculate your phi d max, we are trying to find out the equation for this ERAD. So we'll find the equation for this phi d max. So phi d max is nothing but any flux, is nothing but your MMF by reluctance. Since phi d is your main field flux, so MMF will be, N will be number of field turns, not your number of turns present in armature. So that's why NF into I max, since we are calculating phi d max, so current should be max divided by reluctance. Now we are taking a AC supply. What is the maximum value? Root 2 times of your IRMS. So that's why NF into root 2I, where I is your RMS value. Because all calculations are done, AC calculations are done according to your RMS values. So phi d max is equal to NF into root 2I by reluctance. Now ERAD is equal to root 2 FR phi d max Z by A. Just now we are seeing root 2 phi d max Z by A. Please go through this formula in the first chapter of your BS Greenberg. Okay, you can get all this formula. They have derived also. Yeah, just once go through that. Generalized theory. So root 2 FR phi d max into Z by A. So root 2 FR, you know what is F. We had calculated in single phase, means is induction motor. F is Pn by 2. N is 120 F by P if it is capital N. Otherwise, it is 2F by P. So 2F by P. See, 2F by P is nothing but N. 2F P goes in the denominator. So FR is written by 2F by P. And then phi d max written over here, this formula. Pn by 2 is your F. Z by A written over here. Now you separate your constant terms. What are the constant terms over here? Whole you can't change, obviously. This 2 cancels out, right? This 2, this root 2 becomes 2 and cancels out. So remaining portion is P NF Z by A into 1 by reluctance into IR. So these are your remaining portions over here. Now what are your constant parts? Your poles. You can't change your number of poles. What is your constant part? Second constant part is your number of field turns. You can't change once it is constructed. Sorry. Number of conductors you can't change. Number of parallel paths you can't change. Parallel path depends upon your lap and wave winding. So all this you can't change. Reluctance also you can't change. It depends upon your length of your air gap area. So all these things, once a machine is constructed, you can't change. But what you can change is vary the voltage and change your current. You can vary your speed. So IN can be separated and all the other term can be written as constant C. So C is your constant P NFZ by A into reluctance. Now the voltage equation is written like this. All this voltage equation I have written over here. You have seen this voltage equation. So we are removing our minus sign and writing the same equation over here. This, how you are doing? We have removed our minus sign and written the equation. So we have removed our minus sign and written the same equation over here. So just simplifying it and putting the terms over here, like ETAQ is JIXMQ. So sorry, ETAQ is JIXMQ and ETSD is JIXMD. So there will be a JIX common between the ETAQ and ETSD. JIX common, whatever the suffix is, we are not going to. Let us check. So because of this ETAQ and ETSD, will get JIX common. So that JIX is taken over here. Okay, this two combinedly written over here. This XA plus XF is taken as X. RA plus RF is taken as R. Okay, and another term comes ERAD. So ERAD already calculated as CIN. So ERAD written as CIN over here. Where C is your constant, I is your current, and N is your speed. So next thing what you write, X, this XMD plus XMQ is capital X written over here. So capital X over here, and you have a JIX over here as well as JIX over here. So what we are getting is that JI common and small x plus capital X. So small x plus capital. So this is your actual equation of your stator. So which we write as Vt is equal to Eb plus IARA. That only we are writing in terms of generalized theory. Okay. So this is a very important equation. Okay, this is a very important equation we will be requiring in problem. Please remember this equation. So from this you have to remember this equation only. This derivations is just for your knowledge. Now from here, if you write the equation Vt is equal to this one, can we calculate the value of n? Yes. How can you calculate? This is R a plus jb. So you can convert it into root over a square plus b square. Right? So there will be I into root over a square plus b square. Then you will square the whole term. You will get Vt square, this term square, this square root will remove. You will get Cin square, and then you can find your n. I am leaving this task up to you. Check whether this value is coming or not. You just check once this whether this value is coming or not, because in your book it is written up to this it is given minus r outside the square root. Okay, I have found out this value. Please just go through it once and tell me whether this value is correct or not. Okay, you just try it once and tell me. In book it is written this one outside the square root and written as minus r, but I had calculated this and this came to, because this comes under square root and this becomes square root removed, so this will come under the square root again. It can't happen. So you just go through it and just verify whether this is correct or not, and accordingly modify that. Okay. Next, we have found a relation of the equation for speed. Next, what we can draw, the most important characteristics is the speed torque characteristics of a DC series motor, right? So we'll try to draw our speed torque characteristics over here also. So we have to try to find out the relation between speed and torque and then substitute in this equation. So what you will do, next thing is that find your torque. So in order to find your torque, you know what is torque is nothing but power by omega. So before finding out torque, what we need to find out is the developed electromagnetic power. So what is the developed electromagnetic power? The rotational EMF that is in the armature, that is ERAD into I. So what is ERAD? Already calculated as CIN. So CIN into I gives you CIN square. Ci square n. CIN into n, CIN into I, Ci square n. Now torque is power by omega. So CIN square by omega. So CIN square by omega can be written as 2 pi n. This n cancels out. Ci square by 2 pi. C is your constant part, which we had told earlier only. Pi is again term coming constant over here. So 2 pi is another term constant, sorry. So C by 2 pi gives you another constant K. So can I replace this I square over here by this T by K? So I square over here can be replaced by T by K. So I square replaced by T by K. So what we are writing, speed in terms of torque. Speed in terms of torque, because what is my main aim is to draw the speed torque characteristics. So K Vt square by T. So T by K. So K comes in the numerator. This becomes K Vt square by T. And rest all remains, term remains same, because there is a effect of, there is a current over here. So we are writing on it. There is no effect of current over here. So these are all dependent on frequency. This is a constant. So N is equal to this one. So we have got a speed torque relationship. Now from this relationship, what we can draw is next thing is our speed torque characteristic. So how will you draw? So how is the characteristic drawn? Since your torque is in the denominator, as your torque increases, so your speed will decrease. This is a characteristic you should obtain. So at the lowest torque, your speed is maximum. At the highest torque, your speed is minimum. So it is decreasing in this form. If you plot this equation, you will get a curve like this. From increasing from the maximum value with minimum torque to maximum torque will have a minimum value. Now next thing what we have to see. So first conclusion is that with increase in torque the speed drops. Next, another very important conclusion is that what happens with change in frequency. Because it is a AC motor, you can have a variable frequency also. We have seen in power electronics, I can relate you very easily. We have seen in power electronics, we can change the frequency by use of a device called as cycloconverter. So what we can do is we can change our frequency by use of a cycloconverter, and that's why a very important thing we have to understand that if there is a change in frequency, what will happen? So if there is a change in frequency, only effect that can come in the equation is in the X term, right? So if you are increasing the frequency, this term increases because you know X is dependent on 2 pi f, right? If frequency is directly proportional, so this term will increase. So if this term increases, what will happen to this term? This total term will decrease, so the speed will drop. You can take some example, keep some value 10 minus 2 minus 2, then what you will get 10 minus 2 minus 2, you will get 6, square root of 6. Then you take 10 minus 4 because this is increasing 2 to 4, 10 minus 4 minus 2. So 6 minus 2, that gives you square root 2. So previously you are getting square root 6, now you are getting square root 2 with increase in frequency. What will happen to the speed? Speed is dropping. So as you increase the frequency, my f is increasing in this direction. So f1, f2 is greater than f1. We will get drop in the speed torque characteristic. That is what is very important point you should understand. Next, what will happen if you are giving a DC to it? It is a DC motor, you can give a DC to it. So it will follow the DC characteristics. Your X part will vanish, right? No frequency, X will be 0, so you will follow this characteristics. So if this is 0, so this will be minimum. This will be maximum. This part will be maximum because if this part is present, this is a minus sign, so it decrements the square root value. So if this is 0, so the square root value will increase, so speed will increase. So see, in DC, the speed is speed torque curve is the maximum curve. This curve is above all. So that's why in DC we are having the curve to be at the top of the AC curve. These two are AC curves, and it slowly droops down as there is an increase in frequency. So that thing what I have told is written over here. So if DC is there, so x plus x is equal to 0. So this part becomes 0. So the what is remaining? Vt by I square minus r square. So your square, you can remove that. So Vt minus Ri by I. The square root square cancels out. So you'll get this equation. And from this equation, can we calculate our from figure 3 we can calculate. I can show you calculation from different part also. Okay, so they have shown by phasor diagram. Let's check by phasor diagram. We'll show by different thing also. So from figure 3 we can write the equation for ERAD. Next what we are trying to do is calculate our power factor, because power factor was playing a significant role over here. So if you go to figure 3, if you go to this figure 3, so if you calculate your ERAD, if you calculate your ERAD, what is this? So basically this ERAD, this part, this VT cos theta. If I calculate the Vt cos theta component is this total component, this is nothing but Erad plus IRF plus IRA, this total, which is nothing but Vd cos theta. I think that should be written like that only. Let's check what we have written. Vt cos theta minus IR. Okay, correct. So what we have told is that Vt cos theta is this total part. So if you look at this figure, this total, this angle is theta. So this is nothing but Vt cos theta. Right, this line. What is this line? From this point to this point is what? Erad. So is equal to Erad. What is this point? IRA. IRA. What is this small point? IRF plus IRF. So can I take I common and write RA plus RF? And RA plus RF was written as small r. So basically Vt cos theta is equal to Erad plus I into R. Or Erad is equal to Vt cos theta minus I into R. So we'll check whether we have written the same equation over there or not. So Vt cos theta minus IR is equal to Erad. See, same thing we have written. From figure 3 we can calculate it. What is Erad? We had calculated CIN. Substitute over here. From this you can easily calculate your cos theta. So IR goes on the other side. It becomes CIN plus IR. Take I common, so you'll get CN plus R divided by this Vt comes over here. So now you see that the speed, this cos theta depends upon your speed. So as speed increases, power factor improves. So if this increases, so cos theta will improve. This is what we have discussed earlier. Relate all the things. See, all these are logical things. All this what I'm telling you is logical. Previously what we are saying, Erad was at this point, at the starting, when speed was very less or close to 0. So what was my theta? Maximum. So cos theta was minimum. Slowly as speed increases, Erad magnitude increases. Right? So cos theta decreases. So cos theta increases. So as speed increases, cos theta will increase. That by relation wise I have shown over here. So as speed is increasing, cos theta is increasing. So if you don't understand that explanation in my phasor diagram which I gave you, you can think it mathematically. Mathematically you can say like this. That is up to you how you explain. So we'll just take an introduction to this. I'll take just 5-6 minutes. So how much is there? So many things are there. Okay, we'll just take an introduction to this, then we'll end the lecture. Then you can take some break and attend the next class. Okay. So next is compensated AC series model. Now, at the starting, there is a power factor problem always. So what happens is that we need to improve that power factor also and bring in some changes in better torque slip characteristics, means torque speed characteristic we have to. You have heard about this term compensating winding, interpoles, all this were used to improve the armature reaction, right? So over here also you can use a compensating winding. In small AC series motor, since they operate at lower currents, there is no problem of commutation difficulties. Okay, small motors are generally have very high speeds. So high speed means good power factor range. So no problem with small motors, but with large motors, there you need to get a better power factor and better speed torque characteristic as well as also good commutation. So that's why what we are doing is we are using that compensating winding. Okay. So because of this compensating winding, some effect will be that phi q mmf, because of that mmf produced in the winding of the compensator, that will neutralize the armature reaction mmf. Because you know why compensating winding is used, just now I have told, because it helps in improving your armature reaction. So it will neutralize the effect that is caused by the armature reaction. So it will neutralize the armature reaction mmf phi q, and thereby phi q will be 0, and that transformer EMF produced due to phi q, that is ETAQ, will be eliminated. So those two things will be eliminated, and we can draw the this waveform according to that. Will go to this. We'll just explain up to this point, third slide. So 2 points of classifications are there. How do you do? 2 types of compensated AC series motor or universal motor are present. Is a conductively compensated AC series motor, and one is inductively compensated AC series motor. So how this is done? Conductively compensated AC series motor. This conductively compensated AC series motor is that in compensating winding, the compensating winding is placed in series with the armature. So it is placed in series with the armature. So the axis of phi q means the armature axis, field means armature flux axis or field axis comes in same in this direction. So the fields or the flux produced are in the same direction. And that is in series completely over here. Complete series, because there is series motor over here. Here also the same thing over here, but the compensating winding is itself short circuited between one. So it is short circuited and placed separate over here, and the other series motor is present over here. So compensating winding is disconnected from the main circuit and short circuited on each side. These are the 2 types of connections that are made. Now what will be the effect on the phasor diagram over here? Now, since we are adding a compensating winding over here, what will be the first change in the phasor diagram? If you look at this phasor diagram, I'm just explaining it over here. There, instead of a field coil and the armature coil, there is another coil coming into picture, that is your compensating winding. So that coil will also have some inductance and also some resistance. So after this, there will be another IXC, because if I am following this, so because of that compensating winding, there will be IRC, and then there will be a 90 degree to it is IXC. Then after that, the ERAD will come. So another 2 components comes into the picture because of that compensating winding, is that IRC and IXC. So drawn over here. Now we are taking the not the simplified form, so we have to take the effect of minus ISC also. So minus ISC drawn over here. Only what is withdrawn from here is your ETAQ. So if you look in the main phasor diagram, this ETAQ is not drawn over here. Only this ETSD drawn. So we will remove this ETAQ and start from the origin with ETSD only. So with ETSD only started over here. ETSD started over here, right? No to ETAQ. ISC drawn over here. ISC taken in the opposite side. Phasor sum of IM and minus ISC gave you I. All same procedures. IM and phi D was having an angle beta. Phi Q is not there. See. So ETD, ETSD. Now what will happen? There will be IRA, and all the IRs will be in the same direction. So in the simplified diagram, what we had seen, we had added this IR in the same direction, like last in figure you see. We had added all this IR in the same direction. We'll add all this IR in the same direction, since all were in the same direction, and IX in the same way. So what we'll do, write it directly over here. You can write it separately. Also, no problem. You can show IRA, then IXF, then IRF, IXF, then IRC, IXC, then ERAD, then VT over here. You could have shown like this also, no problem. But you can show it in an easier way to reduce, because in exam you have to show so many things. So IR can be drawn like this, and IX can be drawn like this as a total. So this forms your phasor diagram over here. Now your R is your RA plus RF plus RC. And what is your X is your XA plus XF plus XC. So RA, RC all refer to your armature. So now your RA is increased by this term by RC, and X is increased by the term X. And if you draw the, we'll do the equations next class. So we'll just draw the, try to write the, draw the simplified diagram, and up to point 1 we'll see. So simplified diagram, what we do is remove this minus sign, remove the effect of this minus ISC and IM. So I comes in phase with phi d. So I comes in phase with phi d. You have ETSD in this direction only. ETSD in this direction. So since I comes in phase with phi d, your IR will not have any angle over here, no angle over here, right? So this angle, this IR will come in phase with I, so this becomes straight parallel to your I. IX will be in this direction 90 degrees to IR, and this other portion will be ERAD. So this sum will give you your VT now. So if this is theta, this will be your theta, alternate angles. So now if you apply your means, if you follow the triangle logic and find the vectors over here, so the resultant VT will be ETSD plus IX plus IR plus ERAD. So VT is equal to IR plus JIX plus ERAD, this one, plus ETSD. Right? R and X are written, R you know is RA plus RF plus RC. X you know XA plus XA plus X. And from here you know ERAD is equal to CIN, and ETSD you know this is I. So 90 degrees to it is J component, so JI XMD. Now no ETAQ, no, so no JIXMQ, no need of that. Only we need the equation for ETSD. So up to this we are done of simple means AC series motor, how those compensation is done, and at last we'll see how those power factor is improved. Okay, at last we'll see how power factor is improved, and some things are there over here